is the first call-in show when I get to be Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. And people call in to get their life tires balanced and their critical thinking or their BS, their belief systems, smog checked. And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
We could go 90 days and end up having terrible sex. And then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else, right?
That moose just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
I understood what was going to happen if Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter, made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was the path that I wanted to go down.
You are absolutely fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award today.
Thank you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But
the
I
answer.
surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. But I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so I
Okay,
can come
okay,
over.
come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome, you're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Feedback. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Tiki Live, Rumble. Let's see, Podchaser, Spreaker, Streaker, and more. I am Dr. Marissa, your boy, we're getting feedback on two mics now. Your positively opinionated host on this show that has run now for 595 consecutive weeks. We are on show number 1029. So I know that those of you who said this show would not last because it's all about balancing out all the bad news out there with positive news, I'm glad you're wrong. But I am so happy to have two guys today in studio with me. It is time for Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and... Oh, wait. I muted both of you.
Damn works.
Straight Talk with...
Sam works.
Barolo. Oh, and Sam
There
works.
we
Yes.
go. Good, you got both down. Yep, it is going to be an interesting show today, especially because we just got online. We had some technical difficulties on the studio end, but we are back on. Thank you for joining us on AM 1050, FM 106.5, and my Cashew Gallery. Orville's already tuning in from Spain. And if you would like to participate in this show, please go to my YouTube TV channel, free subscribe, and then you will get the ability to chat with us. We have a very interesting topic today, and it is why do people stay in bad relationships? And it's also a special show because we are going to say à bientôt, which is in French, au revoir, but maybe when he has more time, Sam will come back to us co-hosting this special series called Straight Talk. But in the meantime, I am so happy to welcome Frank Perillo as the new co-host of Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa. All that and more today. And so the first thing, you know, the drill, I like to do breakfast with Dr. Marissa in the morning with whoever is in my hot seats, both of them today. So we only do probably 2.5 gratitudes each and 2.5 appreciations. Top of the bun, because Sam likes it on the top, is 8 specific things that we are grateful for. And then on the bottom of the bun, taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich, is 8 things that you appreciate about yourself. Bottom, because Frank likes it on the bottom. And I'm in the middle today. As you can tell, Thursdays is running up into the weekend, and I like to be a little bit naughty with my double, triple entendres. So you have to keep up, literally. UP hashtag unlimited possibilities. So let's start. I am grateful that KCAA is back online.
Took mine.
That leaves no listener behind. Sam, let's go to you.
Am I muted?
Nope.
Okay.
It's very difficult to mute you.
You know, I'm honestly, like, truthfully, I'm really grateful to wake up early this morning and enjoy the morning sun before, you know, I got my day started. So, because no one likes to rush in the morning, so I really got to take my time. It's great.
Awesome. Frank?
I am grateful for my cats.
How many?
3.
Okay. I'm allergic, so I won't be coming over. I'm grateful that I got a call from my older daughter this morning, checking in on me to see if I'm okay up here in Canada. So that was nice.
Oh,
Damn.
that's really nice. Yeah. You know, I'm grateful that even though I'm back in town, my friends, they started coming back into town, and I haven't seen some of them in, you know, 5, 6 years. So I'm very grateful I get to see them again and, you know, hang out with them every once in a while and catch up.
Great. Frank?
I am grateful for my car getting me to work.
Awesome. I am grateful for Benadryl. I had an allergy attack because one of the bags of stuff that my brother left me to go over with my mom had mold, had somehow water had gotten in it, big trash bag, and mold all over the stuff in the bag. And I'm highly allergic to mold. So Benadryl took care of it. All right, that's 8, close enough to 8 gratitudes. We're going to go to the bottom of the bun, which is what do you like about yourself? And why do I insist on doing this? Actually, it's a model for you to do when you go to bed at night. Instead of thinking about all the things you didn't get done or who done who wrong, and sometimes that affects our ability to fall asleep easily or fully, I want you to think about what you like about yourself, because I believe, it's my BS, my belief system, that the hallmark or foundation of good mental health is self-care, self-love, self-approval. And the only person that can give that to you is the buck stops right over here. So this is the practice for it, my Blisscipline. And I like my ability to go with whatever's going on. Frank?
Hello.
Go ahead, Frank.
I like that I am ambitious.
Sam?
You are very ambitious, actually. You know, I like that recently I appreciate that I'm waking up early in the morning and liking the day rather than, you know, being all groggy and stuff. I'm getting out of bed real fast. So I appreciate that about myself.
Great. I appreciate that I find anything to laugh about and with, including myself? Craig?
I like that I am forgiving.
Hmm. Sam?
Yeah, I like that I'm a social butterfly.
Hmm. I appreciate that I am resourceful.
All right.
Last one.
Oh, are we on me?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that I am. I think I did creative last week, so I appreciate that I am kind.
Beautiful. All right. Last appreciation, Sam, ever on this
Ever.
show in this platform.
I appreciate the person that I've become. Yeah, we'll just stop the book right
Go with
there.
there. Go with there. That sounds great. Then that is it for having breakfast with Dr. Marissa and my duo co-host.
Sam Works.
And
And
Frank Carollo.
yay! Thank you for joining us for breakfast. And now we're going to go to the topic of Straight Talk this week on why do people stay in bad relationships? And the reason why I know that people do this from my personal experience is I am, I'll get called and people will complain about their insignificant other or significant other, and they did this bad or they did this bad and they did this bad, and I will, give my advice if they ask for it, that maybe I'm taken or not. And then the following week, guess what? I get a similar call. I can't believe what he did. Da, 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 da. And it's like, okay, same thing that you just said last week, and you're still in the relationship. And last week you told me you knew that you were better than this. Or, I deserve better than this, or I shouldn't have to put up with this, and yet you still do. So that's the topic. I don't know if anybody relates to that. I saw a couple of head nods. So this is something that affects everyone. Either you're in it or you're listening to it. And that's what we're going to give some recommendations on. We're going to dissect this topic, and then I'm going to ask Sam to look at the past number of shows we've done together and ask him what his keeper is around what's the one thing he wants to remember about being a co-host on Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and Sam Works. So that's what we're going to do today. Hopefully you have something also to contribute, and you can do that by free subscribing at my YouTube TV channel, and that way you can put in the comment section, and or you can also do that on my Facebook and LinkedIn, where we are also live streaming. All right, so I've given my 8 cents worth. Who wants to tackle first?
Go ahead, Frank. I went first last
Ooh.
week. I want to hear what you got.
So, why do people stay in bad relationships? I think people, well, there's a lot of reasons, but one of them is when there are good times, they're really good, and they get hung up on that and think they can't find good times somewhere else, or maybe those good times are so good, they're like, maybe it's worth it. Not necessarily a good reason, but I think that's one reason.
Okay, that's good. Sam?
Well, I mean, it depends on the status. If you're with someone who has a really high status and you don't think you can find someone who can, play that same part while having a better life and being treated right, it's almost kind of you don't want to humble yourself or downgrade yourself in order to be happy, which a lot of people nowadays are like materialistic. So if they had the choice to either live in a big house and a nice car and have all this money compared to reverting back to a smaller living and living, below your means, but being treated right, some people would rather, go through the pain. Other reasons, I know one of my friends, their parents, they hate each other, like absolutely hate each other. But they're just so old that they're just sticking around because where else are they going to go? You know, some people feel like they just don't have any other option. Other people feel like they just been together with someone for so long that, it'll be so hard to lose them, even though they give them headaches every day. You know, either that or the self reflection of not being strong enough to just let go.
Yeah. Um, Low self esteem is what I'm also hearing, and in the subtext of what you're saying, when you don't feel
Mm,
good about yourself and you don't think that you're worthy of having someone who treats you well, I think that is a very common reason. I'm one of the 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma. I'm the poster child that you can get through that pain and have a happy life. But I did what many kids from that background do. You choose a mate, or you choose a boss, or you choose a friend who creates a similar type of feeling in that relationship that you had that was broken when you grew up. The difference being you could do something about it now. You couldn't do something as a kid to get out of that situation. Can't live out in your own when you're 4 years old. So you have coping devices. And one of the coping devices is rationalizing how it's not that bad, or maybe I'm over exaggerating about it. Many abused kids have this syndrome where they think they've made it up. It really didn't happen. It's just in my head. And that's a very common thing. And if I did it. I chose a man who um, basically, oops, whose is that? That must be yours, Sam. Uh, there's a motorcycle. No, he did not ride a motorcycle. But there's that feeling of not being attractive enough or thin enough, which is exactly what I grew up with. And so I picked a man who was very, very looks conscious, and I didn't meet his standards. I was not beautiful enough. I was not thin enough for him, to the point where he introduced me as obese to people behind my back. So that when they met me, they said, you don't look obese. And I'm like, who said that? Your husband. So, yeah, one of the reasons why he's my husband now. But the bottom line is, I picked him. I picked him because I knew that he would reinforce how little I felt about myself. So I think that is also a reason why people stay in bad relationships.
Yeah, and um, I'm sorry he made you feel that way and that he was doing those things too. That's not cool. Um, um, I think other times people will stay in bad relationships because they're afraid, either they have kids and they don't want to, ruin that dynamic, or they're afraid they'll upset maybe their parents, like their significant other, or if they're married, they might have religious reasons that they don't want to get separated, even though they probably should. Sometimes people stay together because they think it'll upset their, you know,
Kids?
yeah, their kids, or God. They think, oh, it's a sin to get divorced, or um, and they end up staying in a miserable relationship for a very long time because of that. So
Yeah. That's a very good point, Frank. When I chose to marry my husband, my auntie said to me, "You realize there is no divorce in our family. That's against God. So if you're going to choose to marry him and we don't like him because he's not Chinese, then you better stay with him because there is no divorce in my family." So, are you not hearing me? Can you hear me, Frank?
I can hear you.
Okay. Sam, you're not hearing me? he put his finger to his ear. So you may have to, yeah, he's going out. Yeah, so that is definitely that religious aspect. It's against the you know the Catholic Church. I think used to be very much against divorce. So yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, there he is. Let's see if that helps. Okay, we're back. Can you hear us?
Yes.
All right.
Awesome.
So, uh, did you have something? Did you not hear? Did you hear what I said about the?
I wish I did. I'm sorry. You might have to repeat
That's okay.
yourself.
That's okay. I was just giving an example and agreeing with Frank around the religious side of it. And I think
Mm.
Catholic used to be very against divorce. And so my auntie, who was not um, Catholic, but she was also very religious, said that there's no divorce in my family, our family. So we don't like the fact that your intended is not Chinese, he's white. Therefore, if you do marry him, you cannot divorce him. That was
Mm.
what I was told. Yeah. So I
You know,
brought a lot of shame to my family because I was the first one to get a divorce.
well, you gotta break tradition sometimes. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. You know, what about those relationships where people don't even know that they're in a toxic relationship? You know, everyone else around
Oh.
them sees them, and they're like, I don't know why you're with this person. You know, they're treating you poorly. They're so rude to you. You know, yada yada.
Uh-oh, we lost him again. But that's he got his point out. There you go.
Yeah, and
Frank.
so it's like
Okay,
it's
sorry. Go ahead.
it's the ones
Finish.
that you don't see. You know, that are probably the most dangerous because then you think everyone's just against you. You know.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that happen?
Uh, I would say yes, but I did know I was in a kind of bad relationship, but I still stuck with it.
Why?
So, um, because people were saying I was in a bad relationship, and it kind of just made me mad, and so I was like, well, you know, I'm still around. So, but it was really bad though.
Okay, so before you comment in, Frank, and I know you want to comment in, which is great, but I'm going to pin Sam down on this one because it's a great example, right? So, what were the things that were happening that you knew were not good, right? I want specific behavior because I'm going through this right now with somebody that I love very closely, and she knows, right? She knows that he's not the best thing for her, and she'll say, he's controlling. He's like trying to um, make her not do things that are pretty normal and innocent, but he's interpreting them as a betrayal to him, right? Smiling at customers or stuff like that. And so she's mad, or sorry, he's mad at her for that. And so she knows that that's a problem, but she's still staying. And then I said, why would you know and still stay? I said, unless sex is that great.
Yeah,
Right.
honestly.
I mean, that is a component, right? We haven't talked about that one. That, I mean, your toes curl so well, or that is why you're staying. So I'm going to ask you, what were the components or the behaviors that led you to know that this was not good for you, yet you still stayed? And I'm saying this for anybody out there who may be in a similar situation. Who
uh, Drug abuse.
Okay, so they were doing drug abuse.
Yeah, and not only that, it's like, you know, a relationship is one on typically one on one, like one person with another. But like with her, it was always a party. It was always we're here, we're gonna get drunk, and I'm with all my best friends, and yada yada yada. And it was like it didn't really feel like a relationship because we didn't have our own, you know, quality time. We weren't sober. We didn't have sober thoughts, and it was like she was a little hoodlum. I'm not gonna lie. and she was putting me on the wrong path. And
Mm-hmm.
even though, yeah, so
And the motivation sounds like it was an FU motivation. So it was your act of rebellion to choose someone like that and not leave her because everybody said you should leave her. And so the FU part of that is you're not the boss of me. I'm going to do what I want to do. So
yeah.
a little bit of rebellion reason.
And you know how that ended?
Uh-uh.
I woke up one morning and she was like, "Hey," like she didn't sleep with this guy, but the guy that I knew was his was her ex, and she started, getting back with him in a sense, and I was like, "Cool, great, thanks." She's like, "Oh, I made a mistake." I was like, "That's not a mistake,"
Mm,
and then I had to cut it there.
yeah.
But it
Yeah.
wasn't it, it wasn't the realization; it was the action that she did that broke us up, which I'm super grateful for. I mean, I don't know what would have
Yeah.
happened if that didn't happen. She saved
Yeah.
me by,
Yeah. No, seriously, I know exactly what that is because I tried to leave my husband 5 times. And it wasn't until the sixth time he did also have a relationship with another preschool mom, because he was the stay at home, that it finally gave me enough courage and like woke me up to leave. So I'm grateful for that as well.
yeah.
So interesting. Frank.
Um, I thought of a couple other reasons that you might stay in a toxic relationship. One, people think they can fix the person.
Mm,
Um,
good one.
oh, he does this, but I can, he can change. We can work it out, and then or she in my case, but or the other
Okay,
one.
I'm gonna get you on that now. So, what was it that you knew in that relationship that you thought you could change in her?
Well, actually, it was like a hypothetical. I
Okay,
haven't. I I'm pretty picky.
okay,
To begin with. But I have had little things where it's like, oh, maybe I can work around this. But I haven't had like anyone where I tend to tap out early if I sense a real issue. But I was just thinking of things I've seen from other people around me.
or whose computer? Could be mine too. We're just having all kinds of fun here with the internet this morning. We almost didn't make it on the AM FM side because of the internet, but we are there now. And if you're wondering what's going on in the studio today, I'm not sandwiched necessarily. Frank's in the middle right now, but I am with two fabulous guys who are my co-hosts this morning on Straight Talk, and it's my outgoing co-host Sam Works and my incoming co-host Frank Perillo. And I am just delighted to have them when we're talking about why people stay in bad relationships. And I love that expression that Frank just used. You tap out early. I like that. I have not heard that expression before. So it's a wrestling match of relationships, and you're going to tap out early at the first sign of, this is not working. And if you have any kind of comment or question about this, please feel free to use the comment section to ask any one of us that question. We had great questions from our cashew gallery yesterday that made the show at another dimension of it, so I'm getting used to liking that. And you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my YouTube TV channel, which is my show slash podcast central. We're going on, this is podcast number 1029. So if you have anything to say, please do in that section. We're going to flip the switch now since it is the second half of the show and talk about solution. So, first half of the show, I like to sort of lay the land, the map of the land, put the moose on the table, my Canadian expression for talking about the elephant in the room. So, I think we did a good job of that. All the reasons why people stay in bad relationships. Now, how do you get out? How do you tap out early or late? How do you pull the eject on that seat to escape or leave or terminate a bad relationship? Thoughts, Sam?
Well, there's a savage side if someone doesn't really have, you know, the guts to like really sit down with the person and let them know how it is. Um, I'm only saying this because I've done this once when I was younger. Okay, it was almost like I set them up to make me feel bad so I can break up with them. You know what I'm saying? So
Example?
like I was dating this person and like I didn't want to be with her anymore, and so we were all together with a group of people. I can't believe I'm saying this. Oh, I'm a
Uh-oh.
savage. Anyways, I was complimenting her to all my friends, right? I was like, look how pretty she is, yada yada yada, this and this and this. And we were drinking, and I knew that one of my friends, well, I guess acquaintance, I guess you can say, he's not really my friend, um, has a liking towards her. You know, he has she's easy on the eyes with him. And since we were all drinking and having a good time, and I just kept talking about how wonderful she is, how great she is, like he wanted to do something, like he wanted to like hit on her or whatever, this and that. And I used that act, that persuasion to like have him like flirt with her and stuff. And the moment she did anything, even slightly, I ended it there. I was like, I can't believe you did this, you know, yada yada. Like I set her up to make her look bad, to make me feel bad, so I can just end it there, you know. And I don't think anyone should do that. I don't
Yeah.
think anyone should do that. That's not right in any way. Um,
Works though.
no, it worked. It worked, but
Never works,
that's
right,
probably
Sam?
that's one of the things out of many things in my life that I regret.
Uh,
Not being able to just approach her and be like, look, I don't feel this way anymore. You know, here's a list of things that's just not working. Um, you know, with the girlfriend that I have now, um, last month I was like, hey, it's getting to the end of the month, and I just, you know, it's not an eject button, but it's like we sat down and we talked, and I said, how can we make our relationship better? Like, what should I be doing or what should I not be doing? You know, to strengthen this relationship. You can always do that. You know, if you really think that you can pull through together, you can have a little counseling time. You know, one on one. And that honestly, it works a lot if the relationship is.
oh, it was, you got to the juicy part and then you tapped out
I
early.
know. But if you're already in a bad situation, if you already convinced yourself or told yourself, "Hey, I want out," then that's probably not the route to go. You know.
Right. So I'm curious, what happened at that conversation?
Oh, between me and my girlfriend now. Oh, it went great. It's a lot of things that I got to work on, of course. You know, like my biggest thing is accountability, and I mean, I brought it up to her attention. Hey, I want our relationship to be even better. Like, how can we make it even stronger? You know, like what can I be doing or whatever. And
Unrolls a
accountability is
whole
the first thing.
scroll.
What happened?
Did she?
She
She
unrolls.
dropped a whole scroll of list of things.
Yeah, and then after that, you know, not that I confirmed, but I was like, okay, so like I told her what I think maybe what she can do. You know, maybe she can be a little less bratty. Maybe she can help me out more. You know, things like that. And it's just being open and honest because we are in a good position right now, so we can be honest with each other.
Oh,
If you're,
good.
you know, if you're in a bad position, you don't want to make that person even like you don't want to get them mad or start being spiteful or you know or anything like that. So I don't know. It's just you want to move in a position of strength, right? Not a position of
Right.
weakness.
What was her top thing on yours on being accountable? What was an example?
Opening up more. You know,
Mm.
I feel like I held back a lot with her, um,
Opening
which
up about what?
just everything, to be honest. Like she keeps asking me like, oh, like what are you thinking? And then I have
Oh,
to stop and think about what like I'm gonna tell her the truth, but in a sense where she can understand it, to where like she won't get mad or misunderstood, because if I just tell her like, hey, what are you thinking? Oh, I'm thinking this, then she's gonna be upset, you know.
why? I'm being nosy now.
Because I'm still trying to fix my past in order to continue my future, because there's some things I just can't let go of, and she realizes that, so it's like it's
Could
kind
be
of
a trap,
affecting our
though.
relationship.
What was that,
Could be a,
Frank?
it could be a trap, though. What are you thinking about? Oh, I remember you saying your childhood crush was Megan Fox. So, could go, oh, Megan Fox, and then she's out, man. She'll get mad at you.
That's the last thing I want, is for her to get mad at me over my thoughts. I told Dr. Marissa early, a couple weeks ago during the show. I was like, the three T's that you got to control. One of them is your tongue. You know, like be careful what you say. If she said something a week ago, and she's like, "Oh, I'm just genuinely innocent," when she's saying certain things, like her response, and I was like, okay, kids are genuinely innocent, but they still get in trouble. They still say the wrong things. Like you gotta watch what you say. You can think, all day what you want, but the moment you speak out to existence or out into the world, whatever response other people has, you have no control of. So you
That's
gotta,
so, yeah,
yeah.
that's so interesting that you should bring that up because guess what the topic was yesterday on Doctors in the House? Taming your tongue, right, Frank?
Mm.
Remember that? That was exactly our topic. You cannot unring a bell. You cannot put back spilt milk, was her, Dr. Tiffany Tate's example. So it is true. Like you cannot unring a bell and you cannot not think that. Now, Frank's reaction to what are you thinking about is super funny. I have to just comment on that because this is a gender difference right here. And this is one of the things that a lot of coaching, relationship coaching experts will say, one of them being one of my past guests, and I'm grateful to call him a friend. He's the author of the #1 mega bestseller New York Times everything in the 90s relationship book called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And Dr. Um, John Gray is very adamant that one of the reasons why men and women get in trouble is women ask that question, what are you thinking? And you go to MSU University, I call it, making shiitake up, imagining what's going through a man's mind when there's nothing going through the man's mind. And by asking that question, you're setting yourself up for failure and a mess. So instead of asking that question, I'm trying to remember his solution. I think the solution was just don't ask that question.
Well, it's a good point because your mind is a private place, and you're allowed to think things that you wouldn't say and not get in trouble for it. Um, so it's kind of, in my opinion, a little bit of an invasion of privacy to demand to know what someone's thinking because you're setting them up for a fight that they did not want any part of and really weren't. They either have to lie to you or tell you what they're thinking about, and in some situations, either one of those will get you in trouble. So, like, you know,
Right.
I've had to explain that. This is gonna sound really stupid, but I've had to explain that to my mother of all people. She does that. She's like, "What are you thinking about?" I'm like, I'm just thinking. Like, it's my thoughts, and
Nothing
she'll
important. Nothing important. Nothing that is bad about you. Nothing that will make a difference in um, how I think about you. I think you're wonderful. And that little bit of stupid reassurance is sometimes what the women, not all women, but most women could be pacified with. And I agree with you that, it is just setting you up. On the other hand, however, as Sam will say, communication is important. And if you want to have a closer connection with someone, it is useful sometimes to share something that you wouldn't normally share. On the other hand, you don't want to always not say something in order to stay safe so that person doesn't get mad at you, which is another topic that we've discussed around, when to hold, when to fold, confrontation, is it good or bad? So all of this is wrapped up in this tightly wound rubber band yarn, which it's surprising that any relationship is successful at all because of all of these, crazy human dynamics that just make us so interesting. So
See,
solution is there is no solution.
okay, so one thing is, yeah, like, oh, what are you thinking, right? And it's like, okay, you shouldn't ask me that. And in some regards, um, one that my girlfriend keeps asking me, we had a talk last night. She keeps asking, she's like, I want to see pictures of your exes. Show you
What is she
pictures.
into S&M?
No, no, no. And I asked her, I was like, why are you so curious on what they look like? She couldn't give me a straight answer. I said, that is a path where nothing good will come out of it, you know?
Yeah,
And
for
then she
sure.
was like, and the same thing with like telling people's thoughts. Like, if you're very open with you know, with your partner, and they see like you have a certain face, like you're just looking out there like in the abyss, like, yeah, and they're like, hey, is something wrong? Like, what are you thinking? That's a different story. But if they're just like trying to catch you off guard, like, hey, what are you thinking? Or if you're smiling, hey, what are you smirking at? What are you smiling at? Then it's like, then you can get in trouble. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
like
I think
if
all of those questions are a sign of insecurity. So if
mm,
you need someone to prove often and much why they are with you, then the problem is not them, the problem is you. I'm sorry, I'm just going to put that out there. No offense to your girlfriend. This will be the last time I get to talk at you. So, Sam, I would say that's a red flag. That to me is you don't feel secure enough in yourself and your ability to attract and be with someone. Sorry, I just got distracted. Hi, Maria. Maria's here in the house in the Cashew Gallery. I'm so glad you're here because it's Sam's last week as co-host, and you get to welcome in Frank, who is where. What happened to your lower third, Frank? Frank's uh,
Still here.
let's save that. Oh, I don't know where it went. I can't see it on the bottom. But anyways, Marie. Oh, I know because I put this up. Sorry. So it's Frank's. This is the crossover show. So I'm glad Maria's here to say goodbye and give the blessing all at the same time. So we're talking about why people stay in bad relationships. We're on the solution side now. I'm banging. I mean, not. I'm Oops, that slipped out. I am writing Sam a little bit right now about the comment his girlfriend made that she wants to see pictures of his ex. So that to me says someone's not secure enough in the relationship that they need validation that somehow they are better looking than his exes. That's my assumption. I could be wrong, but it's kind of a little flag, maybe not red, maybe a pink flag that
like
says,
yellow or
"Oh
something.
yeah, yeah, caution, caution." But I think that if we all got to a place where we weren't afraid to say what you want to say, not the brutal honest, nobody has to be brutal when they're honest, but if you're trying to grow a relationship to a deeper level, that, and I'm going to challenge you, Frank, that it's okay to say, actually, I am afraid to say what I'm thinking because you might take it the wrong way, and then I get in trouble, and I don't like being in trouble. So how do we work around that? So it is an opportunity always in communication to um, work to see if there's a match. So, my pregnancy model of relationships, first trimester, there's almost always a match. You have the butterflies, you have all that. The second trimester is when you see the bad parts or the real side or the flip side of all the good stuff. And that's the time to go, okay, this is what they're like. I'm going to ask them questions about stuff like that. And then the third trimester is making a decision on whether or not you want to, if there is a match that will last a little longer into 6 months and beyond. So that's my suggestion or solution. And Sam is having some technical difficulty, so I'm going to kick him out. And oh, he's back. Good. All right.
I heard
So
that. You're
you
gonna kick
missed
me
my
out.
you missed my solution again, but
I'm
oh
so sorry.
well. I hope you all caught that. It's not anything new that I've said before, Sam, so you haven't missed it. I was talking about the pregnancy model of relationships. So obviously, you and your um, significant other are in the second trimester, bordering on the third trimester, to see if there's still a match. So it is. Oh, Sam, thank you for everything, and hello to Frank. All right. So I think we have talked enough about the topic at hand. Hopefully, you've enjoyed that. If you've just joined, you can go ahead and free subscribe at my YouTube channel to listen to this entire uh, um, three-person commentary on why people stay in bad relationships. But I did want to spend the last part of the show, having a good long thank you to Sam, who has been so wonderful in being a co host. He was very open to the opportunity. The history is he was my sound engineer. And when COVID happened, I got promoted from a once a week show to the daily morning show. My boss, Fred Lundgren in Texas, invited me for it. And I said, absolutely, on one condition: it is exhausting to do 5 pre recorded shows. So I would like a live show because it's challenging and I love that. And I never know what I'm going to say. So he complied and he got me. He gave Mark, our station manager, all these guys are the guys that make the show possible. So thank you. And he gave Mark the go ahead to hire some studio sound engineers. We got Sam, and that's how Sam and I met. And then I got him to start participating in the breakfast with me. And he did that well. And then all of a sudden, I had this idea to start having co-hosts. And so Sam was one of the first, I think, co-hosts to come on and not come literally, but he came on and became my talking partner for Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa.
Sam works.
And I want to know from you, sort of, I just gave the history. What have you gotten out of being a co-host with me on this show? What
I
is your
got
keepers? What do
I got
you want
so
to keep
much.
with you?
Okay, well, first thing I want to say is when I first started, when me and Dr. Marissa first started communicating, she didn't know what I looked like, so it was all about our personalities. Like, how do we get to know each other? How do we, like, do we like each other without seeing each other, you know? And I started doing the gratitude sandwich, and then she's like, oh, that's great, da da da. She's like, and then she kind of wanted to do like a trial run and have me on her show, but I didn't have a camera at the time. But she liked the show. I loved the show. It was great. And then we finally got to, see each other. It was through camera at first, and then it was in person because I went to her little show. It was amazing. But, you know, the cool thing about this show is that I'm younger than you are. That's right.
What?
You're
What?
ageless. You're ageless. However, we are so polar opposites in terms of sex, age,
I like sex.
experience.
No, I'm kidding.
and experience. And that's what made the show so great, because it wasn't just like, oh, I agree with you, Dr. Marissa. Oh, I agree with you. It was like, well, let's put the moose on the table. Let's talk about this, and like I think that's what really made the show so much fun and interesting. And I enjoyed being on the show every Thursday. It was awesome. And I would say like the biggest thing that I would take away from the show is that, which changed my mind. For the longest time, I was like, okay, you fall in love once, that's it. You only have one lover. But then when you explain and you're like, okay, but if that person died, what, you think you're never gonna love again? And like that kind of just like clicked in my head. I was like, I guess not. Like I guess I can fall in love with somebody else. And during that time, which is kind of the way the universe speaks to me, is like coincidentally that's the problem that I was having at that time when you brought it up. So I was like, okay, well, this is the solution that I need. This is the talk that I needed. And not only that, the people that are like on my side who are listening, like they love the show because they go through similar problems. They have curiosities, and like all the topics that I bring to you are not things that I like. Not all of them are my thoughts. And
Some
so
of
it's
them
like
were your mothers.
some of them were my mom's, and some of them were my girlfriends, and some of them were other people's. And it's like we brought a good fan base. All the people that you have tuning in that are loyal to you, which is amazing. Uh, it just makes the show so much better. You know,
Yes,
so
I do love my friends on chat. Orville Nation from New York and Spain. PJ is his name. Maria, who actually became a co host one show on my Friday series, Tempting Conversations. And, Maria actually gave me money yesterday. I didn't know there was a function on YouTube to show appreciation. She gave me $5. That
hey,
was
there
my
you go.
first time getting money paid for my mouth. I shouldn't say that. That doesn't sound very good.
No.
But I am so I'm so glad that we had this time, and I certainly, you see he's not difficult to look at, and he is cute. However, he's 23,
24.
right? 24 now, so that just makes him too old for me, so I there's nothing I can do with that.
And
But the good news is my new co-host, who is, you can see here, Frank Perillo. He's also too old for me. He is how old?
I'm turning 27 in 3 weeks.
Yeah, so he's
man,
way too old for me because 24 is too old. So, but it definitely, I wanted to keep that generational difference up in this show because that's one of the things, Sam, you said that makes it really interesting is, do generations on top of, I got that top thing going, on top of the gender difference between my co-host, does that make a difference on how you view topics like why do people stay in bad relationships? So I'm glad that we're continuing that. I do want to wish you, Sam, all the best in all of your endeavors. I know that you are consistently looking at ways to improve, and that I wish you the best, and I'm sure we'll be still in contact. And I wanted to just thank you. This is your applause for you and all that you have done to enhance this particular series. And any advice for your replacement, Frank Perillo, from Sam? What do you want to warn him about?
Frank, she's really gonna have you say things that you don't really want to say, especially on the air. So good luck with that. Um, but they're not mistakes. Like the show's really to help not only you, but to help everyone else who is listening. Because everyone goes through experiences and all that good stuff. So thank you, Maria. I appreciate you. And just be as honest as possible. You know, oh my God, baby duck. Yeah, just
I
be
don't
as
know what
honest
the
as
baby duck
possible on
came
the
from.
show. And keep it spicy, man. Dr. Marissa, she likes her spice. So you'll have a good time. And you know what? This show has really made me open up to really speak my mind and like not to have debates, but to have real conversations. Usually when people talk about topics like this, I'm just quiet and I listen. But being able to speak your mind makes you think more and makes you be open to more opportunities and more thoughts. So just be open-minded. That's my final say.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sam. We're up at the end of the hour. Let's do this together. Make history here. Two co-hosts. It's all about balance, folks. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from Canada, wishing you the best day ever. We'll see you tomorrow.
Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088 to EvoTClub.com.
More than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio each month for news, weather, and emergency information. A new bill in Congress would make sure AM radio remains in cars.